and welcome to Down to Earth. Our question this week is from Robin in South Austin, who wants to know some information about when to prune various plants. You know, it's a great question because the general information that's out there is mostly on ornamental trees or maybe on fruit trees. And so the information that you get is not a one-size-fits-all for all the plants that you might have. For shrubs, roses, fruit trees, and ornamental grasses, late season pruning, late winter pruning is the best time. What you want to be careful on your fruit trees is that you don't prune them so late that you prune out the flowering and fruiting buds. You want to be very careful of that. An important thing to know when you're pruning is the growth habit of your plant. If it's an evergreen tree or shrub, then pruning in the dormant season is still good. Those plants are not dormant, but they aren't actively growing in the winter. So it's very good to prune them when they're not actively growing. If you have hedges that are evergreen all year round, and you want to get them back into shape, they're a little overgrown, go ahead and do that heavy pruning right now in the winter, and then get them back to shape the height that you want them, and then maintain them throughout the summer growing season. If you had deciduous, non-flowering trees and shrubs, you can prune those in the late winter as well. Those generally follow the general pruning rules that are out there, so the pruning information that you have applies to those types of trees and shrubs. For spring flowering trees that are ornamental and shrubs like roses, prune those again in the off-season or prune them after they flower for many of them, such as your roses. Once they've flowered, then you prune them. For things like root-hardy shrubs, you want to look for new growth. A good example of this is lantana. So when you start to see the new growth come up from the ground, the nice green tissue, then you can prune off everything that's above ground. And know how plants respond to being pruned. Pruning stimulates growth, so think about when you want your plant to grow. In the winter, in the deep winter, but right as the plant's growing to sleep, in the late fall, you don't want to encourage it to grow. Our plant this week is Salvia leucantha, or Mexican bush sage. It has beautiful cascades of velvety purple flowers and soft green foliage. It has great feel to it, so it's great for a sensory garden. The leaves feel fuzzy, the flowers feel velvety. It's just a great plant all around. It does spread to 4 feet wide, so be very careful that you don't overplant it with a lot in one spot and that you give it plenty of space to grow. Can get 4 feet tall also. Prefers sun or full sun or light shade. It might look stressed in the summer months. It's drought tolerant, but it does need adequate water during the hot summers like we had last year. Good thing for us is it takes heavier soil than some of your other salvias, so it's not as prone to being rotted. It's also hardy to 25 degrees, so it will be usually evergreen here, but if the top growth dies, just go ahead and prune that all the way to the ground in early spring. To do in your garden this week, it's still time to plant summer flowering bulbs such as allium and gladiolus. You also should fertilize any established vegetables and spring flowering plants that you have to get them a jump start on that flowering for you. We'd love to get your question or plant of the week from your garden, so go to klru.org/ctg and send those to us.